Hi everyone, welcome. This assortment of delicious fruits and veggies, fresh from my freezer, is intended for the VermiBag Mini today. It's only been 11 days since the last check-in, but when I play the video back from the last check-in, it did seem to me like we were a little bit skimpy on food, kind of making me think that perhaps even after just a short period of time, like 11 days, we might find a few leftovers. Well, even if we do, it doesn't matter so much. Even if there's leftovers, we're usually inclined to feed anyway. Alright, well, our feeding zone indicator has led us right back to where we last fed. And I can already see some worms right here near the surface, which is pretty neat. And I don't have to go very deep to encounter some nice dark material already. This top coating of leafy matter seems to have worked quite nicely, because right beneath itself, like if you pull any, usually if you just pull any of this sort of material back, you're already encountering worm traffic right there. This in a way seems to best simulate the natural forest floor. What I really enjoyed doing over the past few check-ins is taking all this top dressing, stuff that was really, you know, applied as top dressing last time, and then simply incorporating it into the system as supplementary bedding. And when I did that last time, I even had my spray bottle with me. It felt so good adding a whole bunch of moisture to the system, because when I reached in, like I just did, along the edge of the system, against the wall of the bag, if bags have walls, but you get what I'm saying, you know, the material that comes out's a bit dry. So I think we're going to repeat sort of the same process we followed last time, which is to simply run the wand while I do a little bit of tilling around the edge of the bin, trying to add a little bit of extra moisture while at the same time blending in a whole bunch of this beautiful leafy matter. And then we can make our way to the center of the system where the feedings have been getting applied, as our feeding zone indicator showed. Alright, I don't know exactly why I rinsed off my glove like that, because we have yet to dig down into the feeding area to make some room for today's feeding. But that is so nice, taking all that leafy matter that's been sitting in here for 11 days, priming, seasoning, and simply incorporating it into the bed everywhere. Adding all that moisture at the same time, that's pretty nice too. Man, this thing, I think I just chipped off a piece, maybe this right here. It did feel as if a couple pieces were sort of just teetering, almost falling off, like this appendage here. This thing is really starting to get to the point where it can barely hold together anymore. I bet if I were to give this thing a good crush, it would just go to pieces. It's really the only object in here that we sort of follow the progress of and don't interfere with its natural breakdown process either. And I think I've even got a counter in my spreadsheet at this point, recently set up just to keep track of how long that pumpkin stem's been in service now. Well, we're starting to run into leftovers from the last feeding here and there. Not too much. Seems like we got a capable population of worms in here to help work this stuff down. And we're going to task them with yet more to be consumed. Alright, another little pumpkin stem. Oops, oh, look at that. More big leftovers. Alright, have we made enough space? And I'm going to grab a little bit of my prepared bedding to include with our feeding. And at the end, I've got more leafy matter we can sprinkle out as the top dressing, top coating of the top of the surface of the system. Alrighty. It's unusual. It seems like things that I would expect to see gone already are still showing up as leftovers, like cantaloupe. Although you do have to give the rind of a cantaloupe a little bit extra time, because that's tough. It takes some time for the worms to break that down. But sometimes when you find a little bit of that juicy melon still adhering to the melon rind, you wonder how come they haven't eaten it yet, you know? All right. I think we've retrieved the majority of the stuff. And hopefully we've left enough space for all this lovely food. Let's see here. Kind of going in as a solid mass, all frozen together. Yeah. Let's see if we could break it apart a little bit and spread it out so that it doesn't create a big mound in the center. A good portion of this stuff came out of a soup stock. And then rather than throwing it straight into the freezer, I kind of left it out on the counter. I don't know why, but it seemed interesting. And then I started piling things on top of it. I had an orange, and I threw that on top of the pile of veggies that were just sitting there drying. And then I had a banana, and that thing's peel just sat there drying. Almost everything usually gets thrown in the freezer and maintains most of its moisture content when it gets fed to the worms. But in this case, a lot of this stuff just sat out and had a chance to kick off some of its moisture content. So that's our feeding, and here's our feeding zone indicator. I think we've got, hopefully, enough material that we can grab from the edges to at least give the feeding zone a partial covering. Doesn't have to be perfect, but still I'd prefer to have the majority of this pretty well covered and level, because just even starting off level, or knowing that you started off level every time, sometimes you can even see little clues when you come back, little recesses and ditches and stuff like that. So here's my chance to make sure I haven't taken any wormies with me for a wild ride on my gloves. And I guess with what little pressure remains in my bottle here, I can possibly return some of this material down into the system. Another nice application of moisture. I hope the worms enjoy it. I think they do. Everywhere you look in this system, there seems to be worm traffic. Even on the edges where it's a little bit dry, still seems like the worms are quite content in here. And, well, I've saved a little bit. I always feel like I got to at least save a little tiny bit. So in the container, there's still a little bit over there in case I need it for an emergency. But I think we've already applied a pretty fair amount. This is just about what we applied last time, maybe even more. And I wonder what's up with this feeding zone indicator. How come they're not nibbling on it? Seems like they would be. And you know what? One more time, really quick. Why not? With the little tiny bit of pressure that remains, let's get this thing set up so everything that belongs in the bin is in the bin. So that's it for our check-in, everyone. With the now, how much was it? 536 day old VermiBag Mini getting feeding number 43, I believe. I was staring at the spreadsheet thinking if I should come down here with stats for you guys, and I thought that those numbers were relatively simple. I should be able to remember them. If I'm wrong, I'll just flash some corrections on the screen for you. All right, everyone, that's it for the check-in. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, as always, please don't forget to leave me a quick thumbs up before you go. That's always really appreciated. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. That's very much appreciated as well. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye now.